Talk Steel, Luke here. Now, with the Mustang, I know most of you want to see what the bodywork's like and how I detail the car. Unfortunately, that part's not ready yet, but I am happy to say that the electrical faults have been sorted. So in this video, I'm going to show you not so much as a how-to, but a bit more of a work log of how I found those faults and I fixed those faults. And anyone out there with a Mustang who's watching this, I hope some of these fixes will be of some use to you. I really hope they are. And if you stick around to the end, I'm very quickly also going to show you where the bodywork is at the moment on the car, and expect that video to come up fairly soon. So anyone who checked out my last video on the Mustang, where I posted loads of faults with the car, you may have seen that there's quite a few electrical faults. We had problems with the mirrors, the central lock-in, the odometer, the radio, and I'm missing something here, and the interior lights. And I'm happy to say at the moment all those faults have been fixed. So without further ado, let's get into this. This is how I went about them. First off, the electric mirrors wouldn't work at all, and I knew the fuse was good, so I had to take the panel off and investigate further. I tested the switch with a multimeter and everything seemed to be working fine, so the problem must have laid somewhere after the switch. This meant taking the door panel off. And as you can see, very curiously, the mirror has no wire coming out of it. Right, so this is what I found so far. This connection here, I believe, is the electric mirror switch. So I'm going to test this with a multimeter in a minute. But there is meant to be a plug coming off this, going, I believe, directly into the mirror, or in between here and the mirror at least. So, if we've got three connections on here, I believe it's going to be a case of making our own harness, I think, and wiring it up, because I think good luck getting a harness over here for the mirror switch. So we're going to have to do a little bit of soldering, a little bit of DIY, but I'm confident we can get this to work because there's only 3 wires on the back, so I think we'll take that mirror apart, find out where these wires go, and solder them together. So just take a look at this. We've got it grounded, we've got the multimeter set to the right thing, this on a crocodile clip into the plug, and if I get the mirror in the left position and move it left, you can see we've got a signal, so the switch is working, so it's just a missing wire. Right, so with all this off the car, it's time to open them up and have a look inside. Now, I'm hoping that I can just buy a wiring harness that clips in or something, or maybe construct one myself. And my main concern is this hydro dipping that's occurred all on the outside of the mirror. For this to happen, it's got to be dipped into a tank of water, and the water graphics transfer onto it. The only thing I'm worried about is looking at the rest of the jobs on the car. I'm really hoping they haven't dipped the entire mirror with all the motors and all the internals in the tank, because that could cause a lot of problems, because things will get clogged up, and we're only going to find that out once we open the mirror up and have a look. So here we've got the mirror, and no way, they've cut the wires off, which I'm assuming they've done it because of the hydro dipping, which probably means they left all the motors attached, and that's been in the tank. I'm not going to be know for sure until we take this mirror off, so I'm just going to try and clip this off and see what damage is behind here. I'm assuming this will just pull. Yeah, there we go. Huh, the motor looks alright inside. I can't see any graphics transfer on this. Looks like I've got 3 screws we can take out again. Okay, this makes no sense whatsoever. So the entire motor assembly, the whole electric part of the mirror, has just come off from the housing. So that could be dipped by itself. Why on earth have they cut that off? It just makes no sense why you'd cut the wire off when only 3 screws hold them in. Dipshit. Well, I extended the wires to an adequate length and clipped the female plug off the car since it didn't have the male connection. I then fed the wires through the door and stripped back the car's wiring. I then very loosely twisted and taped the car's wiring to the mirrors just to test everything out before I soldered it. Okay, it's a moment of truth. Okay, it goes down and it's going up. no right or left. And now it's working, which is great. So what I did for this to get that bit working was literally the connection here. It wasn't making a good connection on the red wire. I'm just going to quickly show you on the other side of the mirror what I exactly did. It was a dead simple fix, really. So I did some tests with the multimeter, continuity tests and all that. I was determining from the bottom of the wires on the mirror all the way up to here was a nice clean signal, so there was no breaks in the wires. So I started looking at the motor assembly here. So it was really a case of undoing these 3 screws, and then find the motor will separate from the back of the housing. So you've got the wires going to here and a little plug here, and you can see how dirty this plug is. So essentially the red one was just not getting a good contact. When I took the plug off, you could see it was a little bit corroded, a little bit gunked up. So literally all I did was take some WD-40, a toothbrush, separate the plug and just give everything a good brush out, let it soak for a few minutes and stick all back together. And now it's working perfect. Left, right, up, down, no problems at all. With everything working, I soldered the wire together and used some heat shrink. I then wrapped them in tester tape to stop them from rattling behind the door panel and to give them a more professional finish. And with all that, the mirrors were working perfect. I remember that radio that was sunken into the dash. I had to do something about that. Unfortunately, I didn't show you how bad the wiring was for the radio because I fixed the radio before I decided to split this restoration up into 4 parts. So yeah, basically the way they did it, they had this block here, which was the speaker block, and they literally just stuck about 8 bullet connectors along here. With all the male ends coming from the head unit, so you know the ones that got power going to them, so they could have come out and touched each other anytime. So all I've done here is, instead of the bullet connectors, I've actually just decided to solder these together, use some heat shrink, wrapped in some tester tape, yeah, and there we go. On that side, that's all good. And the other side, though, this is the one that was really dangerous because they basically didn't have a wiring block. This whole ISO block here has been soldered in by me. They literally just tried to use bullet connectors going from the wiring back here with no plug on straight into the old head unit's wiring harness, with the male connectors coming straight out of the car's wiring. So we had 2 lives and a negative all on male bullet connectors again, which is just I'm surprised the car hadn't set itself on fire by that point. As you see now, it's all nice and safe. Just on the ISO blocks going into the adapter for the head unit. So that's all good now anyway, and the head unit's working perfect. I had a spare Sony head unit lying around with Bluetooth built in, so I swapped it for that and also decided to install some better speakers, since the 23-year-old Ford ones are truly awful. I went for some Alpine 5x7 since they fitted the doors properly and were only £30. These were a good replacement for the factory speakers, since I was still only going to be powering them from the head unit. With the new speakers rated just 30 watts RMS, I knew the head unit could drive them fine, since they only typically give out about 15 watts RMS. A lot of people make the mistake of sticking 100 watts RMS speakers in a car and then don't power them from an external lamp and wonder why they sound worse. It would kind of be like pulling a semi of an engine out of a Civic. It's just not going to happen. I also had some money left over for my £50 budget to install some sound deadening, since the Mustang pretty much had none. You can hear how much more solid the sound deadening panel is compared to the naked one. I've only done the front for now, but I'll probably be upgrading the rears sometime soon. But the overall difference is outstanding. It's not an audiophile grade by any means, but compared to what I had before, it's a significant improvement on a tiny budget. Now onto that dead central locking. Whilst I had the door panel off to install some new speakers and to fix electric mirrors, I decided to take the door actuator out of the driver's side door. I decided to hook this up to a battery, and I just want to tap this against the terminals to see whether this actuator is moving as it should be. So I'm going to take the negative side now, stick it in, and you can see the actuator works absolutely fine. I'm just going to flip this over now, the polarity on the bottom, and as we see, no problems whatsoever. Even if I decide to hold it down my finger a bit, it's still got lots of force behind it. So I've got a feeling these actuators have absolutely no problems with them whatsoever. So the problem must lie somewhere further back in the system. One thing I wanted to make sure was that the wires going from the door to the car's body weren't split, so I pulled the rubber grommet away from it. But no, everything seems in good order here. There seems to be no tears or splits in the wire, which perhaps is a good thing because I don't want to start messing with these. It's in an awkward spot. I do want to check the switch though, make sure power is getting to it. So I've hooked up a multimeter down here to just a ground point on the fuse box. And now I'm just going to probe these two wires, the pink and yellow wire, and the pink and green. And I believe these are the two main wires I used to unlock and lock the actuator at the back of the door. I might have come up with a bit more of a solution to the problem. So I've tested the actuator down here, and it was getting like 3 volts going through. There's very little. So I thought, well, maybe there's a bottleneck somewhere like in the switch. So I took the switch off and I decided to clean it out. This top just pulled off here, like that. And then it wasn't too dirty by the look of it, but I used some WD-40. Now here's the interesting thing. If I push the lock button now, this locks every single time. And it unlocks. It's not very consistent, but the harder I push it, the more it locks. And I go onto this side here. I give this a quick clean out as well. And this side's not as convincing, but does work from time to time. Just the inside the switch, all looks alright at the moment. I can't see any major corrosion, but it doesn't hurt to try. I'm going to clean this out best I can. I mean, there is copper, and it looks like the little bits in here do have slight corrosion, so that could be enough. Just give it a good soak in that. And then I'm going to go over with a little brush and maybe just try and scrape with a screwdriver or something to move as much as I can. I've also filled a little cap up with WD-40 here, so I'm going to let this sit in that for about 10 minutes. Should do a good job of cleaning the components inside there. Moments of truth. Oh, isn't that the sweetest thing you've ever seen? And there's only one final thing to try, and that's the key in the door. Okay, it didn't work. And I spent 2 days trying to find out why and got majorly frustrated. And turns out, after posting on the Mustang forums, that these Mustangs never worked by the key. It was just designed that way. I've never seen a car like that, and I can't fathom the logic behind it, since 90% of the system is already in place. Unless it was to make people upgrade to the keyless entry system. So I thought I'd go that route, and I bought a £10 kit from Amazon, and I should have known better. The wires were that thin that almost set itself on fire. I may look at adding this feature again in the future with a high quality aftermarket kit, but for now let's just keep the car standard and move on to the next thing. The faulty odometer turned out to be more mechanical than electrical, but never mind. Turns out it was a little gear inside that snapped off. A £10 replacement order from the US and all was good. Check out the link in the video below if you want to know how to fix this fault, since Chrisfix has already covered it. Now on to the problem with the dash lights. If you'd watched one of my previous videos, you may have seen that at night time when the headlights are on, the dashboard is completely dark. So there's nothing on the speedo, there's nothing down here in the center console. Someone commented by the name of Jordan Gaines on the video, and he said on this knob here for the headlights, try turning them because it's a dimmer switch, which I didn't know because nothing's labelled here and I don't have a manual for the car. And sorry about this light, it's coming through the windscreen, it's really hard to film this at the moment. I tried it and I thought, nice suggestion, but I turned all the way up and nothing happened. What turns out on this car at least, it's counterclockwise to actually make this go brighter, and to make it dimmer, go clockwise. I just want to know for any other Mustang owners out there, is your car the same as this? Because that's quite counterintuitive to have to turn counterclockwise to make this brighter. Anyway, good news is that it wasn't really a problem, but it is weird because if I turn a quarter turn, that's like fully bright to nothing. The other 3/4 are, well, just completely off. So a little bit strange, but I can live with that. And that's all the electrical faults done. So as promised, here's where the bodywork is at the moment. The side pods are sanded, the sail panels are removed, the mirrors are sprayed, some of the side skirts are removed, as well as the hood vents. These are all sanded down at the moment and are ready for paint. So of course, if you want to see that, which quite frankly is going to be the more exciting video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon if you haven't already. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, stay safe and see you soon.